Hello everyone, it's Monday, I'm Martin and this is Newsround live on CBBC. Here's a look at what's coming up in the next few minutes. The robots helping out in hospitals. And it's counting time at the zoo. But first to the United States, and opponents of President Trump have set out their plans to try and remove him from his job. Donald Trump is due to be in charge until President-elect Joe Biden officially takes over on the 20th of January. But the Democratic Party are now calling on Mr. Trump's Vice President, Mike Pence, to use his power to kick him out early. Politicians have been angered by Trump's role in encouraging riots at the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. last week, where 5 people lost their lives. You can find out more about why people want President Trump removed from office by heading to the Newsround website. Next, Spain continues to face lots of snow after being hit by Storm Filomena. The storm is the worst snowstorm Spain has faced in 50 years. Madrid has been one of the worst hit areas with as much as 50 centimetres of snow falling. The police and soldiers are being sent to help clear the roads and make sure supplies of the coronavirus vaccine can still get around the country. Now, meet Benny, a robot that could be used to help in hospitals in the future. He's being developed by a team at the University of Sheffield who are exploring how robots can assist healthcare workers. Benny can be fully controlled by anyone, anywhere, using a VR headset. Benny is already being used in Italy to support children with limited mobility and conditions like autism. Next, to London and Whipsnade zoos, where the keepers are undertaking a mammoth task counting all their animals. Wowee, watch this.
Tallying tigers, adding up ants and calculating camels. It's all in a very special day's work for the keepers at London and Whipsnade zoos. Every mammal, bird, reptile and invertebrate are counted and recorded in order to monitor the conservation work that goes on in the parks.
There's just under 4,000 animals at the zoo, and that covers around just over 200 species, so it's a really big task, and it will take the keepers almost a week to carry out, so right in the middle of doing this at the moment.
Unfortunately, both zoos have once again had to close to visitors due to the national lockdown restrictions. But the important conservation work behind the scenes continues. And there have been plenty of new additions to London Zoo's population since last year's headcount.
In our first lockdown, we saw 2 beautiful otter pups born. Then later in September, we had Edie, our Carpi calf. And then just last month in December, we welcomed Geisha from Denmark, our female Sumatran tiger, to join our male.
The information collected from the stock takes mean they can report any changes to the international zoological community and help monitor the breeding of endangered species. Counting the giraffes is one thing, but I do not want to be the person who has to count all the ants in the ant colony. Nope.
Righty-ho, there's still lots more to come today, including we've got the biggest footy news from the weekend, including a massive shock in the FA Cup. And we round up the week's happiest stories that will make you smile. But before all that, it's time for a big question, and this week's one comes from Teddy, who asks, how does gravity work? Well, Antonia from George Rowe Bank might just have the answer.
This is a really difficult question to answer. In fact, it's a question that scientists have been trying to answer for hundreds of years. And there's a really nice story, though we're not sure how true it is, about a scientist called Sir Isaac Newton, who was around about 400 years ago. And he was thinking of this very same question while sitting outside under his apple tree one day, when an apple fell from the tree and landed on his head. And that got him thinking, why did the apple fall down onto his head? Why didn't the apple fall sideways, or why didn't the apple float off into space? And the answer, of course, was gravity. This invisible force that pulls things together. An apple has its own gravitational pull, but so does the entire Earth. And it's Earth's gravitational pull that's holding us down on the ground right now. He also wrote about how different things have different amounts of gravity, and that all depends on their size. For example, an apple is quite small. so it doesn't have very much gravity. But the Earth is much bigger than me or than an apple, so it has a lot more gravity. Isaac Newton's idea of gravity was fine, until Einstein came along. Einstein realised that Isaac Newton's idea of gravity didn't work if something was very heavy, like a black hole, or if something was travelling really fast, like a rocket. So Einstein improved upon Isaac Newton's idea with his theory of general relativity. And we use our telescopes here at Jodrell Bank to see if Einstein was right about gravity, or see if that needs improving as well. So we've got a good guess of how gravity works, but we're still not entirely sure.
Alrighty, time to take a wee look at the latest footy news. In the Scottish Premiership, Rangers are now a massive 22 points clear at the top after winning 2-1 at Aberdeen. Alfredo Morelos scored either side of the break. That's now 15 wins in a row for Rangers. They haven't lost in the league all season. Whilst in England it was all about the FA Cup, sadly Marines' dream run came to an end. They were well beaten by Tottenham, who are 160 places above them in the football pyramid. Carlos Vicinigues got a 13-minute hat-trick. The final score was 5-0 to the Premier League side. But the big upset of the weekend had to be Crawley Town's amazing 3-0 win over Leeds United. Crawley sit 62 places below Leeds but pulled off a historic win. Nick Cerula set them off on their way with a great goal. They're now into the fourth round for only the third time ever. OK, get ready to smile because it's time for this week's happy news. We've got pandas, tiger cubs and a 100-year-old Olympian. Yep.
Let's start with the oldest living Olympic champion who recently celebrated her 100th birthday. Agnes Kaliti from Budapest won 10 Olympic medals for gymnastics in her lifetime. Happy birthday, Agnes! Happy news too for pandas. China is celebrating a successful year of breeding, and they've released some new footage of the animals playing around. These ones were filmed at the Wulong National Nature Reserve in the Sichuan province in southwest China. And finally, check out this gorgeous white tiger cub, just born in the National Zoo of Nicaragua. The cub is called Neve, which means snow in Spanish, and is the first one ever born in the country to a pair of yellow and black coloured Bengal tigers. As you can see, the cub is being bottle fed and doing really well.
Well, what better way to end the show, but we'll be back right here tomorrow morning at around 7:40. In the meantime, head to the Newsround website for loads more. Have a good day. Bye-bye.